Mahou Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha is up there with Symphogear when it comes to me getting into its series really late despite showing interest way earlier. I found out about Symphogear around the time I was 17 and didn't watch it until I was 23, about 3 years after it ended. I think I found out about Nanoha when I was 16 through running a PSP emulator on my high school's laptop tablet hybrid thing. A lot of games didn't run great, but they ran, and it was cool for me since back then I was getting more into fighting games outside of old emulator sites and what I could occasionally ask my parents for. Funnily enough, that's how I learned that the Shin Budokai games and Fate Unlimited codes exist. I actually ended up playing the sequel, Gears of Destiny, back in high school, and immediately dropped it because it was too hard. Not necessarily hard to understand, mind you, just hard to get bearings in. Gears of Destiny is very brutal for no real reason, but more on that whenever I get to it. I'm gonna talk about the first PSP fighting game for the Nanoha series, Battle of Aces. And this is kind of, in terms of actual video games that you can still play, kind of all the series has. Apparently there was a card game that ran from the mid to late 2010s that was called Brave Duel, and it got 2 mangas that are basically giving, I think, more detail for the game, called Innocent and Innocence, along with a side manga called Material Girls, based on the Material characters that we're going to talk about a bit later from this game. But otherwise, yeah, kind of been it for games on both ends of the spectrum. So what even is a Battle of Aces? Well, Battle of Aces is a 3D arena fighter for the PSP based on an alternate ending of the second season of the show. To basically give you a cliff notes of how that ends. At the end of season 2, the whole season they were dealing with this whole thing called the Book of Darkness incident, in which the book is basically killing a new main character introduced, Hayate, and the Belkin Knights, who were from the book, are trying to basically complete it so there's at least the chance it won't consume her entire life force and kill her. So basically, at some point or another, the book gets completed and all hell breaks loose, and essentially they gotta fight their version of BioLizard. I am very much paraphrasing, but it's pretty much it feels like their version of BioLizard, even though I'm fairly certain it's not. Look, I'm pretty sure technically what I'm thinking of is the final boss of Adventure 2 called Final Hazard, but it's still the fucking BioLizard, man. I don't care, it's still the BioLizard.
No.
But basically they kill it, and the defense system behind the Book of Darkness, renamed Reinforced by Hayate, basically goes, hey, I kind of have to die or else, this will happen again. So initially in the main timeline they decide, well, it's cool, but it is kind of right. We don't want this to happen again. And she self-destructs. Meanwhile, in Battle of Aces, she actually has half a year left to live, so she's actually going to go peacefully this time, instead of just, well, it was nice to have you around for 2 minutes, but it's kind of planned obsolescence, if I'm being honest, especially finding out that the name reinforces specifically a Victory Gundam reference to a Gundam that was built in that show and then destroyed and then eventually replaced by a new one. It was planned by her name, and finding that out had me, hate 'em. Anyway, I'm continuing off that kind of minor plot synopsis to the lead up of the game, considering I may as well get the general plot out of the way now. By the way, let me quickly just tell you who made the game, because my dumbass forgot and started talking about the plot synopsis of Battle of Aces itself. The game, both Battle of Aces and Gears of Destiny, were made by 2 devs as far as I can tell. Witchcraft Inc. and Natsume, prior to them being, assumedly it's the same one that got absorbed into Atari years down the line. And Natsume, I don't think I need that much of an introduction for her. If you played the OG Harvest Moon games, or I think they're called Story of Seasons now, that's mostly their wheelhouse. If you've played Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes, that's also them. And in terms of Witchcraft, they're no stranger to Kamen Rider either, because I mainly know them for, I don't think they worked on Rider Generation 2 for PSP and DS, but I do know they worked on the third one, Rider Revolution, for 3DS, which turned those beat 'em ups into kind of a Metroidvania formula with, for some reason, like fighting game crouching normals, which is really weird. But I also didn't entirely mind how it played. The biggest strikes against it is that for me it's on 3DS, and using that D-pad feels like a sin. Personally, I think the yes D-pad is a sin against mankind, but that's not important. They also worked on like battle motions from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They worked on Idle Death Game, which is a game that I've high-key always still wanted to see translated officially. It sucks that it never was officially translated. There's probably fan-translated playthroughs I could watch, but I actually would have liked to see people go through it with live commentary. They also worked on, if I remember right, a Shuriken Sentai Ninja 3DS game, and I think 1 or 2 of the Kamen Rider Ghost 3DS games. So yeah, they got a good couple of licensed titles under their belt. And now back to the synopsis. So the story for Battle of Aces takes place a week after the incident. Everyone's recuperating, things are getting patched up, and most things are, pretty chill until all of a sudden these force fields start popping up all over Umanari City, and it turns out that they're Belkin in nature, meaning it's a result of the Book of Darkness after it was initially shut down, and basically it's kind of a backup functionality where shit's going wrong. It's spawning all these thought forms called Dark Fragments, which are pieces of the characters from season 1 in A's, where it's usually, memories, regrets, the whole 9 yards. Some of them being completely aware, some of them being literally just pulled from a certain point in time, not even aware that they're fragments. And basically it's up to the characters to find the core, shatter it, and shut this down for good, meaning the Book of Darkness can't hurt anybody anymore. And that is a basic plot synopsis, and I'm going to tell you now when I talk about characters' specific plots later. If I do, it's very much there is some good stuff here, but it's very much kinda bare bones. Like, it's not badly written. My issue is that there's so much repeat that I go numb, so the unique stuff is what I'm gonna try to keep in. But yeah, it's kinda, in terms of a plot, I don't think the writer could write like arcade ladder-esque stories like that, especially since they all drag out to be an hour long. So moving on from basic premise, how does the game, how does it play? What do you do? Well, again, I said it's a 3D arena fighter for PSP. The controls are very simple. You move with the left stick and or D-pad. Because again, it's a PSP game, I'm going to describe things to you in PlayStation controls, so I'm very sorry about that if you don't have any idea what a PlayStation controller or anything looks like. But square is up close because this game has ranges. If you're familiar with a game called Pokken Tournament, which this game came out a couple years prior to, there's probably a game before this that used a similar concept, but I still haven't seen it, so I'm not going to say this invented it, but I'm going to say it somehow beat Pokken to the punch, and I think that's funny. But besides that, since I've already mentioned it, the game starts you in one of 2 ranges. Matches will always start you in close range, called cross range by the game itself. And cross range is basically where melee attacks are the main focus. Movement and everything does not cost mana up close. And long range is basically, we're pretty much in a zoning match, or trying to get in. All your moves cost mana, and it's very much a balancing act of okay, maybe I should go in, or maybe I should hang back, maybe I should, you know, try to bait the enemy into doing something that's long range and fully committal, or, you know, respond at long range because that's my character's strength, etc. So getting into more controls, since I already just kind of said how to move. Up close, you have square for your basic attack, triangle for a counter, which is in-game called block, circle for your grab, which is in-game called catch, and X for your dash, which in-game is called excel. Excel also has a limited number of uses by the blue bars under your character at long range. I actually haven't paid attention to see if they show up at close range, but from my memory they don't. I'm going to refer to attack, block, and catch as A, B, and C like an anime fighter because I feel like that's a lot simpler, and also because the game has 4 controller layouts, so if you feel more comfortable with another one, you can just, you know, go from, okay, what's A now, what's B now, what's C. I'll just call Excel dash because it's just a dash. And like alongside dash, these next 2 buttons do not matter at what range you use them, they all have the same functionality. You have R to block. If you time it correctly, you can get an EX guard, which is not only a perfect block, but also gives you back mana that you would have lost if you just blocked it normally. And L is full drive, allowing you to be in a kind of enhanced state. I say kind of because I don't think your actual stats or anything change while you're in it unless you have a specific set of things we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, and if you press the full drive button again while in full drive, your character will throw out a hit and do their full drive burst, which is this game's version of an ultimate. And if I could describe how full drive works, basically, if you've ever seen a Blazin' from Def Jam, that also has the properties of an anime fighter's burst. That is the best way I can describe full drive mode. And it's kinda crazy because it really does feel like you're on the back foot when this happens, unless you're just like running in crazy, or, you know, you're playing hyper defensive so they won't get in. They obviously, you know, abuse that, because during full drive you have unlimited mana. It is, you can do whatever you want. Like, and it's pretty much, oh shit, I shouldn't be fucking with them. Like, there are ways to counterplay it, obviously. Again, just general playing smarter. If they try to get up close and use full drive burst, you can dodge it. That move, as far as I know, full drive burst on hit, you cannot block it. That is unblockable. Do not. Like, you have to get out of the way. But there are ways to get around it. It's just kind of frightening in the moment. So the basic game plan at close range or cross range, I'm going to swap between these 2 words often, get ready for it, is pretty simple. You have your melee option, which always starts with A. It'll always start with your basic attack. You can modify it by pressing, you know, B or C. Some characters can go from A to C, some characters can't. Some characters need to throw B in there, throw a second press of A before they press another button. It's pretty much, you can pretty much most strings are applicable to everybody, so I'm not going to be going that deep into it here. But you basically have the strings that end in A, which usually just end in a normal knockdown. The strings that end with B usually end up launching the opponent higher into the air. You'd think this would give you a combo opportunity of some sort, but sadly not in Battle of Aces. In Gears of Destiny, oh absolutely. And strings that end in C basically result in knocking your opponent back into long range. So if you're playing a character who's kinda shitty at close range, and you have more of an advantage on long range, ending your melee combos with C is guaranteed to put you back in, you know, a position where you're comfortable, or you can potentially just grab them with C and neutral up close, and it'll always send them back to long range as well. There's kind of a reason why my brain kind of skipped counter for a second, because like, oh, why would you describe the grab before you describe the literal counter button? And that's, the counter is finicky because it is good, it's useful, it catches your opponent off guard, especially when they're caught mashing. It's just, sometimes it's not as effective as you think, because hits in this game feel like they're detected a bit weird, or the hitboxes are a bit fucked. Like, sometimes you'll counter somebody and it just straight up will only hit them once if it's multi-hit, or even though it usually is supposed to knock down, or sometimes knock them just out of short, or just out of cross range, or put them in the long range, you just kind of end up, that this doesn't happen. It's very strange. So counter is more of a gotcha than a, I need to rely on this. It can be good in tight situations though. And well, actually no, there's one more thing about cross range. So remember how I said some characters get launched, right? Or you know how I said, you know, combos ending with another press of A, with a couple presses of A, usually end in a knockdown, right? So some characters, sadly not all of them, can have a state where they put the enemy in spinning knockdown, and it'll be obvious to tell. They'll start rotating on knockdown, you'll see the little whirlwind effect with their body, and then it turns out that almost every character who can access this through their strings can actually combo into their full drive burst, meaning that like half the characters in this game have actual super confirms outside of just being better at neutral than your opponent, which is kind of funny and also really fucked up how only certain characters can have that kind of damage, because fuck them, I guess. Meanwhile, everyone else has to win neutral and like catch them off guard either at long or cross range. I just find it really funny. And that's pretty much the basic battle system. There's not much to really go back over. So with the general gameplay done and dusted, let's talk about the character roster. Being based on Season 2, it really is kind of weird how there's still characters omitted from this roster. Granted, we didn't have a big pool of characters that were that active, but it's still weird to not have all of them here. Starting from the top, we have main character Nanoha Takamachi, her former rival and best friend, Fate Testarossa, their new friend near the end of A's, Hayate Yagami, and the Belkan Knights that serve under her, consisting of Vita, Signum, Shamal, and Zafira, alongside the Unity Knight from the renamed Book of Darkness, now called the Tome of the Night Sky, Reinforce, and one of the main admirals of the TSAB, Chrono Harlon. Oddly enough, despite the game being based around Season 2, Arf and Yuno are nowhere to be found in terms of being playable here. They didn't have 3D models or anything outside of story mode, like no textures, and it does feel really strange. I can kinda understand Yuno, considering for most of Seasons 1 and 2 he was pretty much stuck himself in a ferret body because he was running out of magic early on and started training Nanoha, training her how to use magic. But for Arf, there's like no excuse because Zafira's here, so yeah. The game only has 9 characters with a huge asterisk, but I'll get to that whenever I talk deeper about the character stories a little bit. But to give like at least a small rundown of each character without going more in depth, to start with, Nanoha's pretty basic starting character. She very much excels at long range like she does in series. She blows the shit out of things, shoots a lot, is really strong kit at far away, and pretty much do not take the character lightly in any regard. Fate, high-key, is a bit easier to fight, but she is more mobile by having an extra dash naturally. Though realistically, same as Nanoha, don't underestimate her, keep on her if you can, and just try to win as much neutral as you can. Hayate is a hard zoner. While Nanoha and Fate kinda do still have some sort of edge up close, even though it's not the greatest, Hayate barely does, but her staff being huge can easily make up for it. As much as she's not a combo character, she actually can combo into her super, which is very dangerous, especially since her damage isn't anything to sneeze at for the most part either. Vita is a shield breaker. You do not want to be blocking, especially at long range. Actually, no, specifically at long range. Your shield will be gone before you know it. It is crazy. Do not. I'd rather you actually try to dodge most of her attacks. It is kind of terrifying to even seeing me doing it to the AI, I'm like, god damn, that shit is way stronger than I thought it would be. Signum is the character you pick when you pretty much want to tell your opponent, I say when we're done here. While she's not great at long range, all of her tools are really strong regardless, on top of the fact that she can bring you into close range from not super far out in long range obviously, but like, let's say mid-range is what I'm going to call it, where it still counts as long range but you're close enough to where you think it may transition into close. But like, she can bring you in, do combos, and naturally she has reduced combo scaling, so yeah, she gets more out of, basically keeping you here forever. And I think she's really fun. She's actually one of my favorite characters to play, which, big up since, I already like her a lot. This was funny considering I just talked about Vita, so yeah, the characters are scary to say the least. I'm probably already out of roster order, because I think next in line would be Rainforest, but I think my brain put Zafira there first. And Zafira is pretty much you try your best to get in. He has magic counters that go like a decent distance. He has a kick that can stun, a kick that can clash with, it can stun, it can clash with a lot. Hell, it can clash with itself and stun both characters. It's very much this character was in fact decoded. He's very fun. The mirror match is kinda hell, but he's very fun. And I'm going to push them all to the last one because I'm not ready for that pain yet. But anyway, move on to Reinforce. Basically her and Hayate have a similar bag where they're not necessarily close range characters, but their big buttons can help them excel in that. Alongside, oh my god, if Hayate was, realistically, I think Hayate's main weakness is her A at long range. I'm forgetting the name of the spell at the moment, which is why I'm not going hyper in depth with character movesets even though they're small. But her A spell at long range is very just kind of small, it's a bit inconsistent, it's strange. It's like Mega Man bullets, but they kind of can veer off very easily. Reinforce doesn't have that. She has one big bloody dagger. And you think, oh well, probably just does an okay damage, what's the big deal? You hold it, one hits you, summons a bunch, and a whole bunch of them go into you. Oh, well, what's else? She can spawn these dark orbs that can shoot lasers. Yes, you can only spawn 2 of them, but they also can act as mines if you get in close range with your opponent and blind them. They can also, again, because you can spawn 2 of them, shoot 2 other lasers that give you more damage. And she just straight up has a restrict bind that makes you fucking explode. So yeah, it's like if they designed a boss character and then went, but she's not a boss character though, and they looked you dead in the face and expected you to believe them. And she's really fun, but Jesus fucking Christ. And then we got Chrono, high-key in my opinion, the second worst character in the game, and this is just me personally. I think he's bottom 2, but he's not the worst. His whole idea is that he really doesn't do much damage. He very much is a character whose moveset is annoying. He places binds everywhere, stationary ones that have big AoE, small ones that have AoE, but they move towards you slowly, and they stay there pretty much forever. So yeah, it's very much a game plan of annoy your opponent, and then pop full drive, where all of your damage starts to actually matter. And it's crazy, meaning he's gonna get away with more and more and more. As soon as he pops full drive, he gets more use out of the form in general than he does out of actually doing anything to confirm into super, to me at least, and I think that's fucking crazy. But yeah, I think he's kind of ass if you don't think about how he's set up. But when you realize it, it works pretty well. And at the very bottom of the Jesus fucking Christ, I'd rather you not be here.
Hey, Fred, give me a pizza with extra cheese.
Extra cheese.
And rid the world of joy.
Hold the joy.
And fill it with eternal despair.
Eternal despair? Hey, Jimmy, give me the...
Shamal. Oh, and by the way, fuck playing Shamal. I don't hate Shamal. In canon, she's a nice lady. I like her well enough. She's nowhere near my favorite of the knights, but she's neat. No ill will towards her. Playing her makes me think about every other potential mid or low tier I've played in a fighting game and makes me go, no. This is what people make Marvel 2 low tiers sound like. I had more fun playing Dan in earlier Marvel titles. I had more fun playing Dan in Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the SNES as a child as a bit. I had more fun playing Akamaru in Clash of Ninja 2. That is a bold-faced lie, but I do not like playing Shamal. I very much do not like playing her. Her moveset sucks. At close range, she has big buttons, which are good, yes, but you can't really do anything off of them. It implies that, oh, she has a really strong keep-away game. Okay, what's her kit like? She has these mini, slow-moving tornadoes that don't feel like they mean shit, and you can just kind of piss them away, so what's the point? She also has a shield, which is good for if you're fighting an opponent that has a lot of Russian moves at long range that they like to abuse, but if they don't and you're just getting shot at, I mean, yes, it's good for cover, but you can't really do much out of it because the tornadoes aren't going to do anything because everyone has decent projectiles or at least something that's fast moving, or at least moves them enough. So these feel useless on top of, oh, well, you can turn the shield into a tornado to like shoot back, and it does good damage, but the tornado itself is so short that it doesn't feel like it matters. That and they can more than likely shoot you before you can get it out, even if you set up another shield prior. So it just feels very useless that her strongest move has like no fucking range. And then you have her teleport, which can be useful, but you can get clipped before and after the animation, so like it doesn't even really feel like yes, obviously the in-between where you're not on screen, you're invincible, but it doesn't feel like it pays because you can't act immediately when she reappears. So it's like, oh, well, you warped and they decided to say fuck you and shot a laser and you were at low health, even though you thought it was a good idea. Oops. No. Get fucked, idiot. And her general game plan does not feel fun, on top of it doesn't feel like she works, and it's really upsetting to experience. Like, playing against it, it's very, this is incredibly beatable, but it's not fun. And playing as it is, this is just horrible. I'd rather her not be playable if this was the route they decided to go with her. It's not fun. And I know in my original recording, I was like super, like actually pissed off. The recording I did like a couple months back. Here now, I'm just like, dude, this shit is ass. Like, you can even see it in the file names for the video recordings. I hated playing as Shamal anytime I had to. And it was so bad, man. So during those quick character rundowns, you may have noticed me saying that some characters just have some benefits naturally. So you're probably thinking, oh, so they just have, you know, stats you're not told about. And no, you're pretty much told about them on character select. Every character basically uses this loadout system. Each character starts with 2 by default that you cannot change under any circumstances. They are hard locked into the first 2, meaning customization for your character in this game is, in terms of their stats, is pretty low, but there is some pretty foul stuff you can do. You also just obviously can't equip the same thing more than once, which Thank God, because that would be skewered in the opposite direction. But I feel like the idea of, oh, hey, well, Chrono doesn't do that much damage, and he has, Drive XC, it's Drive EX, C, and L, meaning, it gives him this major damage boost, and also it lengthens the full drive. So what if we just gave him, better damage on top of that, and then Chrono just becomes, oh, fuck, this is awful. Like, this is diabolical. That's kind of all I can say about the loadout system. You have various effects, like obviously healing from a perfect block, having another drive stock, an extra excel dash, doing higher or lower damage at long or close range, like reduced combo scaling, the works. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure you unlock more of the stuff for loadouts when you play each character's story mode, which actually does give me a kind of decent segue into talking about the character story separately. I already laid out the basic plot synopsis earlier, but again, to speedrun that, it's been about a week since the Book of Darkness incident. Everybody's been recuperating, spending time, doing pretty much just trying to, move on afterward. But then these force fields start popping up all over Umanari City, and the TSFBs already send investigators out, but the main characters decide to go themselves to stop the madness. And each character's story is very much, some of them I feel are better than others by a large margin, and I'm gonna tell you right now. Nanoha, Fate, Hayate, and Vita's story are, like, to me, the peak of it, genuinely, because I do think this does a lot for each of their characters, even though, again, I've stuck it through like 3 seasons and 3 transitional in between mangas with these characters. I already liked these characters a lot, but I really feel like Battle Bases reinforces why I like them. Like, for instance, Nanoha's the main point of her story, because again, every story has this similar plot beat of, we have to stop the thing. It's mainly the character interactions throughout it and what some characters realize about themselves that I really fucking love. In Nanoha's story, it's basically, how Ryu from Street Fighter does the whole, the answer lies in the heart of battle. Nanoha has not the exact same thing, obviously, but something similar in that she wants to use her magic to, obviously help people, but also because, she can do it. It's something to strive for. I'm trying to remember the exact wording. I took notes for this damn reason.
戦わなくちゃならないのは戦う相手じゃない。相手の悲しみや心の闇、戦いに駆り立てる理由そのもの。悲しみを打ち抜くのが私の魔法。ユウノくんや魔法と会えて、レイジングハートと会えてよかった。
Don't mention it. I may also meet you.
ありがとう、レイジングハート。
I do like how they have her be indecisive about what do I even use my magic for at this point, or do I want to keep doing this? Even though I don't think that's exactly how it was, that's what it felt like to me when I was going through it. And I really do think that does a lot for her. Fate's story is way more about, like I did already say that a lot of these stories feel like they're about more personal growth for each character. And Fate's story, to me, it hurts in a good way, if that makes sense. I'm going to say this again like two story synopsises down the line, but pretty much the whole thing of her story is pretty much, it is essentially moving on with her life after season 1 and 2, because she genuinely does feel like all she does is end up hurting the people she cares about, given that in season 1 she was pretty much a clone of her dead sister and was also very much abused by their mother and pretty much thrown away because I may have created you, but you're not my original child, you're not her. Basically putting her in a high-key, like it's high-key an Astro Boy situation, like OG Astro Boy. Dr. Tamimna created that nigga after his son died, and then said, fuck you, you're never gonna be anything like him, you're not my son, fuck all of this. And it's very much a, damn. Arf was pretty much Faith's only real friend, and realistically her only real family before coming to an understanding with Nanoha later in season 1. And then, while being tried by the TSAB, was being taken care of by Chrono and his mom Lindy. So she started to have, more people in her corner, but she still never felt comfortable with it. She would always run away from things like this, at least mentally. And her story is basically her having to come to grips with that and try her best to, get over it and finally accept it.
さて、消えゆく前に少し聞いておこう。
はい。
お前は今、心のどこかに迷いがあるだろう。家族のことか、これからの自分のことか。
はい。
偉そうなことを言えた義理でもないが、剣士として伝えられることはある。迷いがあれば剣先も曇るが、迷いがなければ恐れることもできん。迷いも恐れも自分の内にあってしかるべきものだ。
はい。
大切なのは踏み出す一歩、繰り出す一線。その一瞬に心が澄み渡っていればいい。少なくとも私はそうあろうと努めている。
シグナの
らしくない説教をしたな。まあ夢だからこそ言えることだ。さらばだテスタロッサ。次は現実の私にも勝ってみせてやるといい。
はい。ありがとうございました。
And I genuinely do think that the various amount of times that Fate kind of agrees that, yeah, my heart is weak, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna fall into the darkness. And the final fight of her story mode essentially being a mirror match of herself when her self-doubts were at her highest. It's very much a, who told you it was okay to punch me in my fucking chest in the middle of an afternoon on a day off? It was very...
あなたは私。そうだよ。もう一人の私。どうしたの？泣いてるの？泣いてはいない。ただ寂しくて悲しいだけ。そうだね。ずっと一人ぼっちだと思ってたから。ジュエルシール事件の時も闇の書事件の時もそう。なんで怖いことばっかりで誰に優しくしてもらってもやっぱり私は一人ぼっち。違うよ。違わないよ。母さん私をいらない子だって言った。ナノハやリンディ提督やクロノだっていつかは。そんないつかが来ないように一生懸命生きればいいんだ。あなただって今も一人ぼっちなの。私も今日まで多分心のどこかでそう思ってた。だけど違うんだ。一人じゃないし一人じゃなかった。私たちはいつだって。
I love her story, especially at the end where she's talking to Arf, going like, I don't know where I belong, and then Arf's like, I'll got your back no matter what.
ずっと迷ってたこと、踏ん切りがつきそうかな。本当？それはすごくいいことだね。将来のこと、自分のいるべき場所のこと、いろいろ悩むこともあるんだけど、自分で決めた答えに向かって進んでいきたいなって。
そう。まあ私はフェイトについていくだけだけどね。
ありがとう、アルフ。
答えいつ頃出せそう？
そうだね。きっと桜の花の咲く頃には。
And I'm like, I love both of them. I genuinely love the both of them. They're two of some of my favorite characters in the series, genuinely. Hayate's story is honestly a bit more shared, and I think that again goes for Reinforce too, because Hayate being the mistress of the night sky and pretty much the master of the former Book of Darkness, her and Reinforce's stories kind of they're different, but they go through different things in both, but they do kind of have to basically share the main character spot. And pretty much it's about how Rin, as I said earlier, only has half a year to live, because in this timeline they decided no, she shouldn't just self-destruct, or we shouldn't, try to, get rid of her immediately. We want her at least to live out some normalcy for her final days. And essentially Rin is trying her best to help Hayate, because Hayate's still wheelchair bound, but she is learning magic. She's getting help from Nanoha and Fate, she's getting help from the other knights, and things are going pretty solidly. And then the whole dark fragment thing starts happening with the force fields and everything, and it's basically just a bunch of trials and tribulations as Rin is pretty much kind of losing her power in real time, and Hayate's like, well, don't worry, I got this, you ain't need to worry about nothing.
私がやる。颯ちゃん、闇の書の後始末なら野天の主のなすべきことや。分かった。黒野たちにも連絡する。気をつけてね。ピンチの時はいつでも連絡を。シグナムたちにも手伝ってもらおう。それからリンフォースついてきてくれるか？
はい、どこまででも。闇の書の呪いはやはりそう簡単には消えてくれないか。それに壊れたこの身では主にお力を貸すことも。
And it's very much, after seeing her for an entire season kind of just be normal and just crippled, it really is nice to just see Hayate have more of a backbone, which is kind of a fucked up. That's a fucked up euphemism for someone who's wheelchair bound. Shit.
拳銃時に闇の書なんでてめえが持ってんだ。どっかから盗んできたか。
いや、これ私の野天の書の主やで。
はあ？ねえよバカ。てめえみてえなのが主なわけねえだろうが。
知らない人にバカとか言うたらあかんやろ。
主、あれはその四年隊ですので。
もううぜえな。いいからてめえらまとめて死んどけ。
But that was not my intent. But it really does feel kind of interesting and fun to see a character who was very sweet actually get fucking upset. Like at some point, because I actually didn't mention this because I don't think I really had a reason to entirely yet. But the dark fragments basically can give way to these things called materials, which create in these characters basically a dark version of Nanoha called Exterminator of Sternlight. She's not called that yet. Exterminator of Starlight or Material S. Fucking a dark version of Fate. Material L, or I think Assailant of Thunderblade, and she calls herself Thunderlight. I'm not joking, like in my guide that I've written down that I'm gonna post, there's points where I write down Thunderblade and then I cross it out and go light and then go, I'm calling you Thunderblade because that's not what you're fucking called. Like, and Material D, King Ruler over Darkness, which is Hayate's evil variant, and pretty much to go over them quickly because this isn't like very coherent, like this is very much I'm rushing through it to give you the basic gist. But basically, Starlight is pretty much what if Nanoha, but kind of a smoke demon.
わかりません。何もわかりません。だけど心はたぎるのです。眼前の敵を砕いてくらえと胸の奥から声がします。安らかな闇と破壊の混沌を呼び覚ませと訴えている。 私はそれをさせるわけにはいかないんだ。ならば語る言葉はないはずです。好みの魔導であなたをほふるのみ。いい子で止まってくれたら嬉しいけど、そういうわけにはいかないよね。私なら止まらないもの。そうですね、わかります。悲しい願いや辛い決断で力を振るう人がいる。それが罪や別の悲しみを呼ぶことがある。話して言葉で伝え合えたらその方がいい。分かってもらえたらそれが一番いい。だけど心が伝わらないとき、分かり合えないとき、それでも伝え合って分かり合うためにこの力があるんだ。破れましたか。強いのですね、あなたは。あなただって。私は消えるのですね。ごめんね。何、強い戦士と戦って敗れたのです。生まれた甲斐はありましたとも。ありがとう。もし次にまみえることがあれば、今度はきっと決して砕け得ぬ力をこの手にしてあなたと戦いたいと思います。待ってるとは言えないけど、次に私と戦うまであなたの道が勝利に彩られますように。それではさらばです。
Thunderblade is pretty much Fate if she was kind of overdramatic and also a smoke demon.
君は野天の主。なぜここに。闇の書を破壊して、その上僕たちの再生まで阻止する気か。
マイヤは今までのコピーたちと様子を。
独自の意識が芽生え始めています。これはまさか。だがちょうどいい。君を倒せば僕たちも再生できる。もう一度あの温かであでやかな血と怨嗟の闇に帰ることができる。
ごめんな、そういうわけにもいかへんのよ。
だったらどうする。羽も揃わぬ小ガラス1羽と壊れて使い物にならぬ融合機。2人揃ったところで闇の深淵に触れることなど。
黙れ。人をくがらす呼ばわりはまあ事実の部分もあるし別にええやろ。そやけどな、うちの大事な子を夜程を渡る祝福の風をリインフォースを怪我すんは許されへん。
許されないからってなんだ。君なんかまともに飛べもしない小ガラスのくせに。
ほんなら確かめてみるか。
いいだろう。君には僕の影すら踏ませない。破れたこの僕が。
はい、大きな声でごめんなさいや。そんなバカだ
And King Ruler over Darkness just a little piece of shit. Oh my god. Like dog, even in the newer continuity, even knowing that, oh well, I'm not sure if she's like straight up evil anymore, she just inherently looks like a little shit, and I think it's the funniest thing in the world. Like, she can't even be adorable normal, she gotta be like smug and kinda fucking evil, and it's really funny.
びっくりした。私よ。 が偽物みたいな物言いやな。
闇の書の主であると闇を滑る王の玉座を自ら捨てて無である。
別に王様になんてなりたなかったし、人を殺して自分も死ぬだけの玉座なんて意味ないやろ。
天草、使い物にもならぬ残骸を生かすため貴重な機能の大半を打ち捨てろ。
待て待て、まだ聞き捨てならんこと言うたな。
我が主、あれの言葉に耳を貸しては。何度でも言うてやろう。そこにおるのはもはや主と共に戦う融合機なのではない。ひとかけらの価値も持たぬただの残骸だ。
言うてもわからんようやけど一応言うとくわ。この子リーフォースはな、本の姿やった頃からずーっといつも私のそばにいて見守ってくれてた子なんよ。悲しい運命に流されてずっと泣いてたのに、私には優しく笑ってくれて、大変な戦いを大怪我しながらそれでも生き延びてくれた。大切な家族で私の宝物や。
我が主、
どんな状態になろうとも私とリーフォースは一心同体の騎士と融合機。祝福の風を傷つける者は野天の主が許さへん。そうや、これがリーフォースがくれた力や。おのれ小ガラス。やっぱり強いな。そやけどまだこの上は我が力の全てを持ってうぬらを滅してくれるわ。
我が主。
今の一撃はなぜ
我ら野天の守護騎士4機、
主とその友に害なすものがあるのなら
誰であろうとぶったたく。
闇の彼方でおやすみなさい。
But yeah, they don't really have that much going on here, which is why I kind of neglected to bring them up like that. Usually, most of their story importance is either having a honestly pretty solid dialogue exchange with some characters, or, you know, reinforcing the character theme, I guess. So they kind of are, in the most literal sense, plot devices. But it's Hayate and Rainforce's conversation with King Ruler over Darkness that really stands out to me, because again, we get to see this girl who's pretty much been sweet, basically like toughen up in real time. Like, she's like, alright, you can talk shit about me, I've been fucking up, even though realistically none of this is her fault, but she's like, I've been fucking up. You talk about my family, you talk about them nights, I'm putting belt to ass, like, and I love that. Hayate is honestly a character that I think got better the more time I spent away from her initial season, because I look back and go, yeah, she was nice, and then I read Battle Base's story and went, nah, the kid, justifiable. I fuck with her heavy. She's a good character. Not my favorite, but I understand why she's a favorite to a lot of people. And pretty much their story mode, well, I say there, but the story mode pretty much ends with Rin trying to teach Hayate all they can and what to name Rin's successor, meaning that for remaining points of her life, Reinforce calls herself Eins, and she's calling the new one Zwei, because German. There's a lot of German with the Knights.
私の意志や願いを受け継ぐ者がいてくれればと思うことがあります。
受け継ぐもの？
あなたにいただいた祝福の風の名と心を受け継いでくれる新しい風です。
前向きに検討しよう。
ありがとうございます。
教えることたくさんで忙しくなるかもしれへんけど。
そうですね。
そうやけど、名前を受け継いでリインフォースが2人になったら呼び分けが困るかな。
そうですね。でしたら私がアインスで、2人目の方はツバイが良いのでは。
それは超シンプルすぎるような気がしないでもないけど。
ダメでしょうか。
響きは可愛いし、ええかも。
青い空がよく似合う優しい風になるように願っています。祝福の風があなたとずっと共にいられるように。
今のリインフォースともずっと一緒や。そうやろ、リインフォース。
はい、我が主。
Vita's story is also kind of a combo deal because it also deals with her and Reinforce, the main thing being her and Reinforce's relationship. As she's a knight from the book initially, their relationship is very... So the knights have killed a lot of people throughout time, right? They've had various masters who only care about gaining power. Vita is very much tired of all the bullshit and has been tired for years. You see this through her fragment and other story modes, especially after her own.
てめえはこりゃ疑うことなく偽物だな。誰だ？一体なんで私と同じ顔してやがる？それにその騎士甲冑はこりゃ甲冑じゃなくて服だ。それによく見ろ、おめえだって同じ格好。うっせえ！私の質問に答えろ！てめえはなんだ？私の偽物か？取り付く島もねえな。わけがわからねえ。なんでこんなところにいる？ミノシュもシグナムたちもいねえ。ふざけんなよ。一体何が起こってやがる？そうか、昔の私はこんなだったな。イライラ来て八つ当たりして。私は今もこんな風に見えてるのかな。てめえもいつまでも私の視界に入ってんじゃねえよ。我ながらむちゃくちゃ言うなお前。うるせえ！どかねえんならぶっ潰してどかしてやら！ちくしょう、ちくしょう！言ってて泣くなよ。なんか悪いことしたみてえな気になってくるじゃねえか。なんでだよ！泣くな。年中イライラ来て周りに当たり散らしてっから。辛い時や悲しい時、素直にならなきゃいけねえ時にも素直になれねえんだ。うるせえ！うるせえ！泣くのも素直に悲しいっていうのも別に悪いことじゃねえんだ。思い出せ、仲間がいるだろ。自分たちだって悲しいし辛いのに全然素直じゃねえお前を受け止めてくれてた連中が。それはそっか、私はあいつにまだ謝ってねえな。ずっと八つ当たりばっかりで悪かったって。あいつの残り時間もうあんまりねえのかもしれないけど、だからこそ
How just distraught and upset she is, it probably factors into why she's so damn irritable too. And it's very much a Jesus fuck. It's another story where I feel like I got punched in my chest, especially when it all just comes to a head. Like, it all just feels like, I get it, and Jesus fucking Christ, you didn't deserve this. It also harps on the fact that Vita's just very bad at communication as well. Like, her and Reinforce, because it is like pretty much two stars of the story here. it begins on them not really being able to converse because Vita kinda hates her. Not necessarily hates her, but it's very much the past hundreds of years I've kind of been forced to kill to satiate the book because these bum-ass niggas want power. And then the book finally, you know, is freed from the curse. It's finally its own person, and it's a sweet lady, but how are we really gonna interact with that? It's kind of a fucked situation for both of them. And the whole story is Vita pretty much fucking up at communicating with a lot of people. It happens with actual Zafira, a bunch of fragments, and it's very much just kind of her having to get over herself and then go, hey, I care about you, nigga. Like, why are you putting yourself out here? You're weak and you shouldn't. This is putting you in danger. What the hell's wrong with you?
Oi! ふざけんな、まだだろ。すまない。これが今の全力だ。昔は私なんか全然相手にならないくらい強かったのに。我が力のほとんどは主颯が受け取ってくださった。今の私はただの抜け殻だよ。リータ、お前は本当に強くなったし、何より優しくなった。私ももう心残りなく安心してゆける。抜け殻か何か知らねえけど、命も心もまだここにあるじゃねえか。みっともなくても情けなくても全部使えよ。お前がずっと泣いてばっかだったこと、私が悲しませてばっかりだったこと、私は知ってる。残り少ない時間なら余計に颯と一緒に、シグナムたちと一緒に笑って幸せでいろよ。お前を泣かせることが起きるなら私が全部ぶったたいてどかしてやる。祝福の風のことは鉄槌の騎士が守ってやる。だからリーフォース、ちゃんと生きて笑ってろよ。リータ、私に今までごめんって言わせてくれよ。ありがとう、リータ。お前のために、我らが主のために、私は残りの時間を精一杯に生きよう。すまなかった。ありがとう、ビータ。うっせえ、何度も言うな。何度でも言うさ。ありがとう、リータ。
And it comes out in the way, you know, it would, but it's clear that she cares by the end of the story. And I think that's really good for her character. Mainly because the original season 2, we jump 6 years ahead to when the main three are in high school and like Chrono's like 20. And then we just kind of end it. We see Rainbow Swai, but we don't really see the Knights. So, from my memory, so we don't really see how they grew as people that much, if at all. And then we had the transitional manga, which does do a bit for them. And then we have, you know, actual strikers where when we get to it, Vita's more of a tough love type character in general. Like, she does obviously care. She's nowhere near as, at least to my brain, she's nowhere near as mean as she was, which is justifiable because 10 years to mellow out after years and years of suffering. Even when things got bad, she's still relatively, you know, just better about it. It kind of felt weird to see her, like, even be like a little bit more jokey too. Like, it felt kind of weird. I didn't dislike it. I love it. It's just, it kind of felt like, oh, well, that's I wish we could have gotten to see more of it. And Battle of Aces does at least help, at least my brain, to see like, okay, I can kind of see how her Striker's characterization got to this point. I also still like how in her ending, when talking to Hayate about everything, she tries to hide the fact that it was essentially a Nanoha fragment that broke through to her. Hey, you can kind of just talk to people, and she's so insistent on not letting anything Nanoha said be important to her. She's like, I'm not telling you shit.
砲撃バカめ、狙い撃ちだ。
ピータちゃん強いな。
まあ戦闘はな。それ以外はからっきしさ。
何か悩み事？
別に人間関係とか自分の置きどころとかうまくできないこともあるってだけだ。
気持ちや心の問題ならどんなことでも素直にまっすぐでいればなんとかなると思うな。素直になるの時々大変だけど、照れたり隠したりしないでまっすぐに。
こっちとらひねくれもんだ。おめえみてえにはいかねえよ。
それでも分かり合うために話し合いがあるし、必要であればドーンってぶつかるのもありだと思うな。
おめえのドーンはガチすぎるっつうの。
そんなことないよ。全力でぶつかってるだけだもん。しまった。時間切れ。
なんだよ、自覚あったのか。
多分夢なんだろうなって。
そっか。
最後にピータちゃんの助けになるかもしれないアドバイスを1個だけ。耳貸して。あのね、以上です。お話聞けてよかった。ありがとうピータちゃん。
なんかまっすぐ相手の目を見てちゃんと名前を呼ぶんだって。
あ、そうか。誰かに教えてもらった？
それは秘密。絶対秘密。
気になるな。
秘密。
まあリインフォースともやけど、ナノハちゃんとも仲良くしてくれたら嬉しいな。
無理。あいつとは絶対無理。
I'm not telling you who gave me this advice. No, I'm not giving her even an inch. It is genuinely great. Honest to God, Signum's story is where a lot of these start taking a dive into. They're okay. Again, I like Signum a lot, but her story pretty much does boil down to, outside of like her talking to Rain a couple times and having the similar plot beats to Vita's, where it's like, oh well, Rain's doing something dangerous, she's planning to sacrifice herself to stop the Book of Darkness from trying to revive itself. It very much is just, yo, a lot of these interactions just made me go, yo, she's so fucking cool, and I feel like that's all her story mode is, partly. This feels like I'm underselling it, but at the same time, reading through it and then having to take notes, I just kind of really felt like it's not bad, but it very much is, well, she doesn't really change much as a character throughout it. Like, she's always been more chivalrous, and yes, she's been more focused, but she can have nice parts about her. Like, she can be a nice lady, and we get that through her being around Hayate and the other knights in A's when they're not fighting. So it doesn't really reinforce anything. Oh my fucking god. But I didn't realize that until I said it. But it's still it's an alright story mode. I do like the fact that it ends on her getting a run back with Fate, and then Fate going, wait, but next week, I got you though.
じゃあ来週もう一回やりましょうよ。今度はもうちょっと違う場所で。
いいぞ、どこででも相手をしてやろう。
好きだなあいつら。まあ楽しそうだしいいことよ。
そして翌週の試合も当然私が勝ったわけだが、1月の暦も少しずつ進んでゆき、
I got you though. And then Signum's like, and I won that one too. Real shit. I beat that 9-year-old's ass again. For free. I don't think it's a great story mode, but I do think it's relatively cool. So Rainforest's story is also kind of not much to go over. Thinking about it again, it very much is pretty much her lamenting the past and basically trying to make up for it. But I do think something that's really strong is the final fight where you have to fight King Ruler over darkness again, but she's overflowing with mana, and because, as you know, Reinforced is called the Unity Knight, she kind of can't really fuse because she's been losing her powers over time this entire time. So Hayate values to pretty much be the substitute for the fusion instead, and it's a really cool moment, and I love this. Again, despite not having much to say about the later story modes, there are the occasional moments that make me either go, you know, that's pretty good, or that's fucking raw. I wish the presentation was more than just, you know, these sprites and the occasional CG, but I fucking love that.
力がみなぎる、魔道がたぎる。集い闇のかけらよ、我が身に捧げる煮えとなれ。あれがマテリアルの中枢。よりにもよってなんという姿を。だがあの凶悪な魔力、壊れかけたこの拳で止めること叶うか。いや違うな、叶うかではない、止めるのだ。主や騎士たちを守るため、ひな鳥たちの空を開くため、私がこの身で命に変えてでも。待って、我が主。リンフォース、赤、今一人で無茶しようとしてたやろ。それは赤。夜天の主と祝福の風は一心同体。無茶するんも一緒にや。ですが私は融合能力を失っています。あの巨大な力に相対するのは。前にも言うたやろ、リーンフォースのマスターは私や。無茶は無茶でも気合で道理を引っ込ます程度の手は持ってきてやれ。融合システムのさ、リーンフォースが私にユニゾンするんやなくて、私がリーンフォースにユニゾンする。それは。そんならいけるよ、戦える。ダメです、あなたへの負担と危険が大きすぎます。平気や、魔力制御の練習ちゃんと毎日してきた。ですがそれにこんな程度のことで私の大事な祝福の風の命削らせるんは絶対嫌や。我が主、ずっと一緒やったし、これからも一緒や。行こう、リーンフォース。はい、我が主。ユニゾン。いい。融合率 96%。 この力は。言ったやろ、やってる嵐と祝福の風は一心同体だって。はい、このぬくもり、この絆、
行くよ、リーフォース。
はい、我が主。マテリアルよ、お前を止めに来た。
拳とチリアクタが来るのか。
誰が欲しいこのレッドコピー。
闇の書の運命はもう終わりだ。蘇ってももう何も誰のためにもならない。
誰のためなのではない。我は我のため。心地よき暗黒を永遠に生きるための心よ。さあ、貴様らも我が糧となれ。
そうはいかん。野天の主とその翼が
ここで全部終わらせる。
今ここに。終わり。お前ももう眠る。
そんなバカな我が力が。みんながこれが
我らの絆、我らの力。
あと少し、あと少しで貸して砕けの力を手にできたもの。
夢はいつかは覚めるもんや。
せめて静かに眠れ。
But it pretty much ends practically the same as Hayate's story mode. So there's not that much to say for me personally about Reinforce's story. Severa's story is also not that much to talk about, but I do like how this is pretty much like, as far as I remember, the only story mode in which they sense the barriers going up. They didn't need to be told, or if they sensed it, we actually knew that before, you know, we got the exposition of being told, which I think is kind of funny. There's also a scene where he also has to fight King Ruler over darkness, and she's doing the generic spiel of, I'm your creator in a way. Instead of being the garbage that you are, you could be this. Come into my darkness, cult bro. Like, and he's like, nigga, no.
面白い獲物がかかったわ。
何者だ貴様は。
何を愚かな。これは貴様らの主の姿である。
我が主はそのように品のない物言いや振る舞いをなさらぬ。
吠えるなゲロ。守護騎士風情が我に逆ろうでよいと思った。我は闇の書のマテリア。いわば貴様らのご体族。
どこから生まれようと我が使えるはただ一人の主。
愚か。ウヌも所詮は獣か。どこまで逃げようとどう生きようと闇の書の呪縛からは逃げられない。
我らを縛る草すでになし。強き主と祝福の風が呪いの爆さを断ち切った。
シリアクタには等しい愚かな獣よ。我が魔道に滅び闇の書に帰るがよい。
その姿この拳で霞と消してくれる。
And then throws that shit back at her, fighting for the future that Hayate and the Knights now have. And then Nanoha ends up checking up on him, And they have like this little cute exchange like, Nanoha, you don't have to keep calling me Zafira-san. This shit make me feel weird. Just call me Zafira. And then she's like, well, could you please stop calling me by my full name then? Just call me by my first name. It's a cute scene.
我が魔導が貴様ごときに。
闇は夜明けに消えるものだ。貴様もそうなる。
勝った気になるなよ、ちびやくた。貴様も所詮闇の落とし子だ。呪われた過去は消えはせぬ。
見苦しいな。
貴様らの主とて所詮
罪をあがないながら未来を探し命を生きる。それが我々の主が示してくれた未来だ。主自らが一番にその運命を背負い共に歩むと言ってくださった。そして共に生きることを幸せと言ってくださった。我らが主の器の大きさに比べればチリアクタに等しいのは貴様の方だ。お前か、高町なのか。どうした？
ザフィーラさんのいる場所でマテリアルの反応が消えたってやっつけちゃいましたか？
たった今な。
すごいです。私も向かってたんですが。
悪いことをした。すまんが他に回ってくれ。それから
はい。
できれば継承と丁寧語をやめてくれ。どうも座りが悪い。
そうなんですか？アルフにも同じこと言われたんですが。
守護獣や使い魔にそんな風に話す人間は稀だ。普通に話してくれればありがたい。
Otherwise, Pharoah's just kind of fighting because he felt like he let Hayate and the others down during the incident. So he just starts training and just happens into all this shit. It's pretty much it for him. Well, I don't think Chrono's story has that much either. I do think there's a little bit more meat to it, as it does deal with, you know, some things involving what's happened in between seasons with him. So the whole thing with Chrono is that he was a major player in the Book of Darkness, the whole Book of Darkness case, because his dad was essentially, you know, killed in the last time the case came up. So essentially with it all being done, he's doing paperwork and then, oh, the force fields show up, goes to stop them. And with the fragments, I've been skipping over a good couple of them because I feel like a lot of them can be boiled down to 1 to 2 things. But I really do think that the Fate fragment he runs into being very, like, down on herself completely, because I think I've mentioned it earlier already, but after basically being tried by the TSAB, eventually Lindy decides to adopt her, and her and Chrono become siblings. So, seeing the Fate fragment, even though he knows she's not real, Chrono talks to her like she's real, and she's like, no, you're important. We love you, you shouldn't be saying this about yourself. And it's a nice scene.
クロノフェイトではないな。
その子も死ねんだい。
君はどうしてここにいる？
わからない。気がついたらここにいたの。アルフもいないし、一人で寂しくて悲しくて。 でもいいんだ。わかってる。私はずっと前からいらない子だから。
そういうことを言うな。君はいらない子なんかじゃないさ。
だって今私がここにいるだけでクロノたちみんな迷惑してる。わかるんだ。私は誰かと一緒にいちゃいけないんだって。クロノも早くここからいなくなって。私きっと迷惑かけちゃうから。
そんなことはない。証明してみせようか。
ダメだよ。クロノ怪我するよ。
バカにしてもらっちゃ困る。さあ来い、フェイト。どうした？僕の知っているフェイトはもっと強いぞ。
クロノ、
君は強くて優しい子なのに、どうして自信が持てないんだろうな。
わからないよ。
僕の友達がな、その昔下や後ろを向いてばかりだと前が見えなくなる。自分を責めすぎても本当のことが見えなくなるなんてことをよく言ってた。僕も昔は出来がいいとは言い難かったからな。失敗するたびそう言ってよく慰めからかわれてたもんだ。
本当に？
心の持ちようで気持ちも変わるさ。過去や後悔はどうあれ前に進んでいけばいい。
私にもできるかな？
できるさ。胸を張れ、えへんと。
えへん。
そうだ。
There's also like a really good dialogue exchange with a signum fragment, whose memories just kind of blanked after fighting Fate initially, and then starts remembering things as it goes on, and then apologizes for essentially potentially taking the life of Chrono's dad. And Chrono, he felt resentment, but he's not really bitter anymore. He can't really go, oh, it's your fault. It's just like, it's just the way things happened. It was just unfortunate.
あなたは確か黒の執務官でしたか？
ああ、君は自分の現状を
おおむね把握しています。闇の書の断片が再生させた現実の私の過去の記憶、そんなところでしょう。
あ
あ、この私の記憶はテスタロッサとの最後の戦いから私が消滅するまでで途切れています。その後のことはよくわからないのですが、不思議と恐怖や焦燥はないのです。
颯は無事だよ。もちろん君の仲間の騎士たちも、野天の魔導書とその融合機も。
それででしょうかね。不思議と落ち着いています。闇の書に帰っていろいろなことを知り、そして思い出しました。あなたの父君は闇の書が
よそう、その話はもう過去の話だ。闇の書の力に憎しみがないと言えば嘘になるが、憎むべきは君たちやリインフォースじゃない。
リインフォース？
闇の書の融合機の 新しい名前だよ。ともかく君たちとその主八神颯は闇の書の呪いを終わらせてくれたんだ。過去の罪を償っていきたいと願う君たちにも前向きな、今度は人を救うことに力を尽くせる、そんな未来を用意しなきゃいけない。そうする義務が僕らにはある。
ありがとうございます。一つ質問をよろしいですか？
どうぞ。
あなたとテスタロッサはどことなく似ているような気がするのですが、兄弟か何かでしょうか？
似てるかな。血縁はないんだが。
そうでしたか。失礼を。
いや、実際にこれから兄弟になる可能性もある。間違ってはいないよ。
そうですか。さて、防衛システムが何かやらかしているようですが、あれは蘇るべきではありません。そういうわけで黒の執務官、
あ
よろしければ戦いの中で眠らせてもらえませんか？
受けたまわろう。僕でよければ。
Oh, yeah, there's also the fact he fights his own fragment, and there is like literally nothing to glean from that encounter except he's shocked at how weak his fragment is, and all the fragment does in response is fucking yell.
待て待て、なんでそんなに好きだらけなんだ。僕はそんなに弱いのか。君の目は節穴か。冷たいツッコミ。やれやれ、どうも妙な事件だ。
Like, he just starts screaming, and I can't tell if that was intended to be funny or not, but if it was, Masterful Gambit, I was dying. And ending with Shamal's story mode, we also end on another "there's not much here." The most we have is she almost starts a house fire by the end. Like, Vita's bedridden because all the fighting is finally taking a toll on her. The force field thing still happens. It's kind of it. Oh yeah, there's also the scene where she runs into Thunderblade and fucking Thunderblade basically gives her a whole spiel on like what's going on, and she's like, "Thank you for the information." And then Thunderblade starts fucking stammering and rushing because she's fading away. And she's like, "Shit, I didn't mean to be helpful. Fuck no."
無駄さ、僕だけじゃない。今頃あちこちで僕らのかけらが生まれている。砕かれた闇をもう一度蘇らせるためにね。そう。この町に沈んだ記憶を呼び覚ますんだ。闇のかけらが魔導士や騎士たちの強い願いや妄執を形にして君たちを襲う。
そう、いろいろ教えてくれてありがとう。
いや違くて、そういうわけじゃなくて。なんてこった、ここまでか。闇は何度でも蘇るぞ。僕も王への道を諦めたわけじゃない。いずれまたきっと、それから
times in my life, but I didn't really lose. I only lost against myself, you know? As far as everybody was concerned, I won. But this time, no, this time is different. This is a complete and total defeat. I'm distraught, demoralized, and cranking too. I'd say he's even more upset than I am. You know how he gets about his little creations? But it's actually not as bad as that one time he took a baseball bat. You should have seen the face of Dr. Frank.
That's like pretty much it. So by the way, King Ruler Over Darkness just fucking explodes like 3 times, and I forgot to mention it during the story synopsis because it's not important, but she's the only fragment who doesn't fade away. In 3 separate storylines, she fucking explodes like a Toku villain, and it's just, there's a dedicated CG, and it I can't help but laugh every time, and then you get to hear Kana Ueda just fucking scream every time, and I'm just giggling.
Boy, that was sweet! I always love hide and go boom!
But Joe, no hiding things from me, okay?
So overall, that's like a quick rundown of what each story. I wouldn't really say there's bad stories here, but I would definitely say a lot of these could deal with having their routes cut down, especially because there's extra stages. So how do you access the extra stages? So you have to win 2-0 every match. Granted, I think they only pop. Yeah, there's only 2 EX stages that pop up every 2 stages. So 2-0 stage 1 and 2, you get EX stage 1. 2-0 stage 3 and 4, you get EX stage 2. And I think from there, you're actually you're solid. I don't think you need to do more. So why would you need these EX stages outside of some extra story beats or potential character moments? Well, outside of that, you get these things after beating a character's story mode and having seen all of their stages. For the 3 characters on the left, if I remember right, you get the power materials. For the ones in the middle, you get you get the logic materials. The characters in the middle row, you get the power materials, and the characters in the right row, you get the king materials. And in an earlier story mode, I kind of neglected to mention that at some point, Starlight gives the exposition that, oh, I'm the logic, Thunderblade's the power, and King Ruler Over Darkness is the king. This means you unlock them as playable characters, but you have to 2-0 the whole story mode with them. So, I already went on a rant about Shamal. Yeah. And so you'd think, oh, well, that's not that bad. You can save in between story beats. So yeah, like, it's not that bad. And then you do all that and then go, okay, cool, I have them all. What does this mean? Well, now they're playable in Versus and Arcade. Great. So what's different about them? And this is where it gets depressing because there is a difference, but gameplay wise, they're the same as Nanoha, Fate, and Hayate. The story mode, when you play it, hasn't shown you that enough. It's essentially a mirror match, but they're pretty much given a fuck ton of buffs, and the game does not tell you the buffs they have applied. I had to look at the damn wiki to tell you what buffs they had applied, and Jesus fucking Christ. Same moveset that they gave these fuckers the kitchen sink. Like, okay, let's just start with Starlight. Alright. Like Nanoha, she starts with long range power and MP guard. Okay, makes sense, yeah. And then she has shield breaker, close range power, auto guard, and close range defense. Why the fuck would she need that? Like, oh, let's go to Thunderblade. Like Fate, okay, Excel stock plus, an extra dash. Excel loader, when all your dashes are used up, you get them back faster. Okay. So then they decide, oh yeah, reduced combo scaling, long range defense, Drive EX critical, Drive EX long. Just like her older brother. Don't let her press the L button, I guess. And for King Ruler over Darkness, just like Hayate, MP loader, use MP cut. Okay. No, obviously big long range user, give them cracked out MP. Yeah. So on top of that, she gets more MP in close range when melee attacks land. She has 3 drive stocks. She heals on an EX guard. And drive loader, all of her drive stocks refill in the next round. You mean to tell me you gave this bitch 3 drive stocks and then looked at her and said, nah, that's not enough. She gets them back, win or lose next round. Ooh! And you can't see these nor change these. They are hard-coded to have all of these. It is fucking nuts. Meaning, realistically, yes, these are the better versions of the characters to play. But it's not. My issue is that it's strictly for a loadout reason and not a difference in gameplay reason, because I'm pretty sure if I took enough time to actually, I don't know how people do frame data shit. I'm going to keep it 100 with you, but if I took enough time to find out how to do it and did it with this, I would pretty much find out, oh no, they have all the exact same frame data, everything. Hitbox values, yeah, it's just the loadouts being cracked for no discernible reason. Like, you get to play as them, but they're crackheads essentially, and that's fucking crazy, man. In terms of other unlockables, there's genuinely not much there. We do have a gallery mode with it filling out the more you beat characters, story modes, and do arcade runs. Story modes obviously unlock the story CGs, and the arcade runs unlock the 3D models and a couple of voice clips for you to play. The game also has ad hoc for online with like a profile customization, which explains what a lot of those textures were for. I think it's neat, but obviously, unless you're gonna like try and get this running with an emulator or with some people with like real PSPs, this isn't really gonna do much for you in general. And regarding that, that's kinda it for the game. Realistically, it's a game that I wouldn't initially. I was more harder on it in my initial recordings, but I think spending some time away, sitting on it, playing it a bit again, there is a lot of fun to be had. But if you're expecting something like deeper or wanting to play something that's like more unrestricted, please play the sequel. I think Gears of Destiny fixes a lot of the wrongs of Battle of Aces. Like, I feel Battle of Aces is a bit slow, feels a bit sluggish. Gears of Destiny feels a lot faster, it's a lot more kinetic. Combos get to be more of a thing. They do more interesting stuff with the close and long range shit, and I do genuinely like it a lot more. But I do appreciate it a lot more having played original, and I do think it's at least worth trying before you go, alright, now what's Gears of Destiny all about? And I think its story mode is pretty alright. I went from glazing it in my original recording to realizing it's fine. I do love a lot of character moments in it, but realistically it is fine. It is basic arcade. It is a very basic arcade ladder-esque story that I really feel kind of hampers its writing a bit. I don't think the main writer, who, by the way, for the series, everything's written by the same guy since like 2000, like with like Triangle Heart 3, like that nigga has been on it since 2000, and it's like, okay, I think he met his match with arcade ladder type writing. Like, this is not great, but he still clearly loves these characters, and I think he did, Masaki Suzuki, I think he did a great job. I don't really like rating shit. I just kind of tell you how I feel and then leave it at that, so yeah. Kind of all I got. I don't have any more to say.